My name is Rachel, and I live at the Whitehaven orphanage. 2 days ago, my friend Claire tried to leave the orphanage, but she got caught. She hasn't come back to her room yet, and I'm very worried. I managed to get the room keys from the reception closet, and I'm going to get out of here tonight. I can't take it anymore. Just to get freaking comfortable. So I don't look like I'm sitting on some sort of a pivot. Speaking of pivots, frame rates and all that. Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Whitehaven. This is Mr. Cotton. I shall leave him here so the monsters won't hurt him. I like how his feet have little hearts. I think that's absolutely adorable. So, you might think this looks slightly familiar if you watched a particular midweek video which I put up, goodness, I've got no idea, 2-3 months ago probably. And that midweek video was the demo to this game. The game has now been released. So I thought, since the demo seemed quite promising, that we would have a little look at it. Despite the fact that it's so dark, it's extremely difficult to have a look at anything, and I can't figure out which button the flashlight activation command is mapped to. But never mind that. This seems vaguely familiar, so I presume this is a bit of the game that was demonstrated in the demo. So while I'm not going to skip the beginning of the game, so there may be a little bit of repetition between here and there, but oh, that's better. Does the light go off when I leave? No, it doesn't. Okay, so yes, it does. Well, there goes that idea. That's what I get for making assumptions instead of testing them properly. Dear oh dear. Yes, so I apologize if there's a... You're going to have to do better than that, mate. You can't just punch a baked bean can and expect me to jump out of my skin. Where was I? Yeah, I apologize if there's a degree of repetition between between this video and the demo, but we'll try to get through this bit relatively quickly so that we can get on with the rest of the game proper, like. Ah, yes, I do vaguely recall this. This is the generator. I think we need to power this up in order to get that door to open. So where's my oily friend gone? I do not know, and frankly I don't want to know. But, right, there was... Yes, there was some fuel. Yes, we can use the fuel to power the generator. So hopefully we'll get through this bit relatively quickly, and then we can get into the rest of the game. Because I believe the rest of the game involves exploring the rest of the orphanage. Okay, that sounded like the combination between a scream of being impaled and an explosion from a gas leak. I liked that scream. I mean, I didn't like that scream. No, not like that. I mean, it was, you know, high quality scream as screams go. Well done to the voice actor is what I'm trying to say. There we go. Excellent. Right. At least now we have an explanation as to why the game character is so short. Since so many of these small project indie horror games, everything's scaled up a little bit to the point where your character seems really small. But if we were in an orphanage, then it makes sense because we would be a child. Call the electrician about that. I'm pretty sure that's not up to standard. Although, to be honest with you, using a petrol-fueled generator probably isn't up to anybody's standards. Where I come from, we're just like plugged into the national grid. But Perhaps we live out in the sticks. Speaking of sticks, allow me to use these carefully constructed sticks in order to project myself out of this window. Good evening. I remember you, because you were right at the end of the demo. So I think that's as far as the demo takes us. So now we can get on to the new content and see what else there is to discover.
My name is Rose Davies, and I used to work as a teacher at Whitehaven Orphanage. I feel like it's been a long time since then. I can barely remember what the place was like. Lately, I've been having dreams that evoke the orphanage, headaches, anxiety. My therapist, Dr. Tramis, has recommended that I visit the place. He says it might help me sort out my thoughts.
I'm no psychologist, but I'm pretty sure that's a bad idea.
Everything seems like a dream to me. Every day. Every second. I feel like I'm lost in fog.
I've watched enough horror movies to know that going back to the source of your nightmares is a really freaking bad idea. But, okay, that's interesting. So we're perhaps not going to play as one of the children, we're going to play as one of the teachers. Okay, that's cool. That's a nice little sort of 180 from what I was expecting. Okie dokie.
We're almost there.
Kitty on. I know I said maybe we live out in the sticks, but you know, this is a little bit more than what I was expecting. I was at least expecting there to be like a driveway or a road. Wasn't expecting quite such a Arkham Asylum vibe from it.
This place had its charm.
It's a place where parentless children live miserable lives. I don't think it's very charming, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so this one opens, so potentially there is another avenue of entrance. Let's... There, a little bunny rabbit. Rabbit, yes indeed. Can I pick the rabbit up? No, okay. I seem to not be able to interact with the rabbit. I see. The rabbit restraining order is still in effect. I see. That doesn't surprise me. Right, okay, so I can't go around the left. Can I go around the right? Yes. Aha. There is a hole. Most useful, as I have found them to be in my non-existent experience of them. Ahem. Okay, so this is all boarded up, so presumably it's abandoned then. It hasn't been in use for a long time. Can we go in through the front door? Would it be that simple? It's closed. Yes, I can see that with my face. What I think you mean is, it's locked. But never mind. Let's see what we have in the watchtower, because that's what all orphanages have. Tragedy in the orphanage. Oh, I see. So it had a bit of a dark and sordid past. Orphanage's key. Okay, so maybe this was more like a... Well, I was going to say maybe it was more like a very large sort of janitor's closet, like a maintenance closet, but then again it's also full of books, which kind of throws that theory out the window. I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze around the back, am I? No. Okay, so I can't go around the back of the building, so we must go in through the front door. The key fits. I think I can get in. What I think I can do is put the microphone in the correct place. Sorry about that. Righty-ho.
The lights are on. Is anybody here?
Well, there's the question. Do ghosts and monsters need light or not? The Whitehaven Orphanages is a non-profit institution for abandoned children. Here they will be able to develop and grow both academically and in a social environment. Since 1875, you have been able to take care of all these unfortunate little ones thanks to your donations. Our facilities allow children to access a large number of services, some of which include the following: primary and secondary educational classes, tutorials and personalised support, gyms and play areas, a library, nursing and periodic medical checkups, socialisation and integration sessions. Well, that all sounds very lovely. I don't know if the delivery will be so effective. What? The door is screwed in. I can't open it. Okay, that is a very bizarre way of locking a reception room. My guess is the receptionist kept leaving work too early and the boss got a little bit annoyed, so decided to lock them in so they couldn't escape. The door is jammed from the outside. Okay, so that's a little courtyard, but we can't access that just yet. Or possibly not at all. Let's try some of these other rooms. The lock is loose. I could probably open it by pushing something through the slit. The medical room. Okay, so I'm looking for some form of a lockpick or something. The storage room. This is locked. And the meeting room. This is open. Okay, what do we have here? It's like a picture of someone. I remember this painting. It always got on my nerves. Yes. Always leaving its half-eaten sandwiches in the fridge and letting them go mouldy. Very irritating of it. I presume what they mean is it creeped them out a bit, which is understandable. Right, let's try through here. Now this is locked as well. Okay, and there's a piece of paper here. Kitty yacht. I am the janitor. I am leaving this note in case anyone has seen the storage room keys. I left them on my desk, but I can't find them anywhere. I need to get some reports urgently, so I would appreciate it if you could keep an eye out for them. I heard some kids whispering in the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure those kids have taken the keys. Do something about it. If you find them, let me know. I'll be in the yard trimming the hedges. Okay. So some of the kids had stolen the keys. Is that because they were after something that was in one of the rooms in order to enact some sort of dastardly plot? Whatever dastardly plot put this thing in my eye is certainly achieving their goals. Okay, so we've got some bathrooms. That's locked. And this one is open. Okay, so this is where those children were. So, come in. Can I help you with something? Okay, we're locked in here, but oh, that was me knocking. Oh, right. Okay, that definitely wasn't me knocking. I'm not that insistent. I'm not that desperate. Are the keys here? The storage room keys. I dread to think what the children did with them if that's where they ended up. And I dread to think how many meters of intestines they had to go through first on their journey. Right, we got anything else in here? Nope, just a lamp and some books. Nothing too exciting. And what's this? This is the classroom.
I remember this classroom. I used to work here.
Well, it wouldn't have made much sense if you were a teacher and you never went in a classroom. I mean, I'm no expert when it comes to the educational systems of wherever the hell we are, but I'm pretty sure that's how these things work. What the hell is that? Bear. Achievement unlocked. Bear. Okay, I'm guessing that's another stuffed animal. I was under the impression that was a severed head. But never mind. Let's be jumping to conclusions. So the place couldn't have been very big then if it only had the capacity for 9 students at a time. But there was multiple lessons throughout the day. Maybe they could have had a few more, but it wasn't enormous by any stretch of the imagination. That's probably good. Okay, so we've got the storage room keys. Let's head back there and see what is in here. Use the storage room keys, yes. Giddy, what a mess. For being a janitor, mate, you're not very tidy. Okay, now we've got a big old crowbar. That will come in most handy, I am certain, for clobbering small, misbehaving brats.
Looks like dried blood.
And as always, I'm not the first person to have the idea. Brilliant. Okay, so the crowbar isn't for that, presumably because it's not thin enough. Could I break the lock off with this? Yes, here we go. I'm pretty sure you'd actually push the crowbar the other way, but never mind. We're not here to discuss pivoting physics. We are here to discuss this woman who is complaining that her tailor never listens to her and always makes her dresses far too long. And this woman who says, yes, I completely agree with you. My tailor does exactly the same thing. Also, my hat-making person made this very weird hat that looks like a massive horn that's coming out of my bonds. But I paid so much for it, I feel a good responsibility to wear it at least occasionally. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Anything in this photograph? Yes, this person is bowing to the great amazement of the light extruding belly person. Along with this small book, which seems to have splattered a large tomato in a very square pattern. There was a lot of bizarre stuff going on in the Renaissance, it seems, if all of these people went around painting it. But never mind, moving swiftly on. What have we got in this filing cabinet? A book? No, a classroom key. Okay. You seem very tall for a child of an orphanage. Okay, I don't like that I can still hear you. If you'd just gone completely, that would have been alright. But you didn't. Where is she now? Okay, that was a nice touch. Moving off from the narrative and starting to move towards the speech. Come on, I don't like this radio station. You always express white noise opinions that I don't appreciate. Honestly. It's not, I mean, I know teachers are supposed to be, you know, sort of apolitical when it comes to the white noise spectrum, but still. Only human. 106, Isaac and Harry. So presumably these were the lockers of different children. Ethan and James, Sebastian and Alan. These all seem to be boys' names, but there were boys and girls' toilets, so maybe the boys are on one side of the room and the girls are on the other. Olivia and Lisa, Hannah and Barbara, Jennifer and Elizabeth, Emily and Patricia, Elisa and Evie, Rachel and Claire. Well, that answers that question. Again, access to the courtyard. Oh yes, I can see the board. Okay, so we can access the... Did I say the graveyard? I meant the courtyard. Sorry. I'm so used to death in these games that I'd jumping to conclusions. Can I move this? Yes, there we are. That'll give me access from either end if I need it. We seem to have a sewer cover here as well, which might possibly come in handy if we need to escape later. Okay, can we go out through the back? Yes, we can. Presumably this is the library. It looks, again, a bit like a classroom, but a bit too big. Okay, what have we got in here? A box cutter. Okay, I have to confess, I don't know what a box cutter is. Where I come from, when you want a box cut up, you use a knife. But maybe I'm just a bit old-fashioned. Yep, still feel like a knife would have done the job. Okay, some medical records? A radiograph. Yes, I think that's medical records. Guessing. I'm not a doctor, right? Don't come to me if you want medical advice. I think we've proved that twice over. Okay. So this was the back of the meeting room, wasn't it? But I can't access that. But I can go upstairs. So I doubt the radiograph is going to be the thing that I need to push into the slot of the door in order to brick up a doorway. Okay, this is a bit bizarre. I've heard of people bricking up their windows to avoid the window tax, but bricking up doors seems a bit pointless to me. Okay, so there must be something else on this floor that I need to do first. So maybe the radiograph is the thing I need to slip into the door. I mean, it would be nice and thin. I just don't know whether it's going to be sort of stiff enough for that. But let's see what happens. Yes? Yes, indeed it is. Okay, fantastic. Good, good, good. Specimen jars with things floating in them. Less good. At least there isn't blood everywhere. Look on the bright side of life. At least there isn't blood everywhere. Okie dokie. Is there any more information here? Any more keys? Any explanation of why the hell you needed these jars which are literally big enough to fit people's brains in? No, seemingly not. Name Henry Williams, age 12. Anonymous. I'm going to guess that means description or something, but doctors just didn't feel important enough, so they had to make it an unpronounceable word first. Right, patient uncooperative, refuses to respond and refers the injuries to an accidental fall. Physical examination. The patient has bruises and contortions on the face and forearms, signs not compatible with a fall, more potentially with blows. Olivia Clark, age 9. The patient does not respond to questions. After prompting, she says she fell last week from playing, however the injuries appear more recent. Again, the signs are not compatible. The patient has pain to the touch on the left side, looks like a broken rib. The dossier is full of similar reports. Interesting. So something or someone was injuring the children, but then somehow manipulating them or frightening them into pretending otherwise. You have found a crayon. Okay, what purpose is that going to serve for me? What is that going to achieve?
I remember the screams, the bruises. God, those poor children. We did all of this. I deserve all of this. It's my fault.
I'm sorry, what? At this moment, I'm thinking it's more like a demon is hurting your children, rather than, you know, yourself. Because surely if it was the staff, then the nurse would be in on it, being a member of the staff, but perhaps not. Is the access upstairs changed yet? Or is this what I'm using the crayon? Oh, I drew a door on it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that is cool. I mean, it makes literally zero sense by drawing a door and a door handle onto a load of bricks and make it. It makes no sense, but it's cool and it's unique, and I've never seen anything like that before, so I approve. I approve wholeheartedly. Okay, good. I'm glad there's a little bit more, because I was a little bit afraid, because that music seemed quite final. But, good. No dead bodies yet. Oh. Hello. We had a penguin. And now we've got ping pongs. And now we have a train. And now a xylophone. And a book. And the penguin again. Okay. Right. So I see that, along with being a teacher, an additional skill on my CV is that I can open a toy box, remove an item, replace it with another one, close the box, and then put it on top within an instant. Marvellous. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Those are real employable skills you've got there, Mom. Right, okay. I don't think there's any dead bodies in there. I ain't putting money on it, but I think there's no dead bodies in there. Okay, we got any more? Okay, we've got numbers that seem similar to the, these are just the same things, yes. Numbers that seem to match up to the lockers, so presumably these are the bedrooms of the people that had their things in that locker. Okay. Nothing else around here, so there doesn't seem to be anything upstairs, just a few locked doors and a few toys. There's nothing in here I can access, and I can't see anything except an empty toy box and a very messy bed. Perhaps that's why the children kept coming in with bruises, because they refused to make their beds. Perhaps that's the situation. So there's 3 locked doors, and I can't find the locks for any of them, or the keys rather for any of them. Can you hear that? There's like the faintest little sound effect that's like an ever so slight rasping noise. But I'm wondering if maybe one of these will have the key inside. The key to one of the rooms might be inside one of the lockers potentially. So the only idea I've got at the moment. But no. Nothing there. Okay. Assuming there's nothing out here, everything's still much the same. Yep. And this is still not interactable with. Then I'm not quite sure what to do next to progress. So give me a minute, I shall wander around and I shall admire that floating vase. Okay. Kitty, we've got money for floating vases, but we haven't got money for... I don't know, actually. Curtains, perhaps? Curtains? That's the best thing I can grasp at, because this place actually seems to be decently well equipped. Yeah, give me a minute to see if... Oh, there is something here. Employee data. John Mullin. Date of birth, 1896. Occupation, gardening. So this probably took place in, I don't know, the, I don't know, 1920s, 1930s, probably that sort of era. A guardian, a gardener, librarian, a doctor, and a nurse. I can't read more. Somebody has ripped out the pages. Okay, so that was like a little roster of various employees. What's that? Looks like a little lockbox or something. But, oh, there's a note here. This is the key to our room. Ah, yes. Seeing that would have been useful, because then I would have known that the crayon was used to open a door, but gladly my own stupidity of hitting things with the crayons got us to the same solution anyway. So, yes, give me a moment to just wander around and see if I've missed any items or any things. And, yes, we should see if we can make a bit more progress. Ah, is that my seat? Yes, I'm sure it is, because I distinctly remember gluing my seat and desk to the floor in the event of the gravity being turned off. Excellent. Should I have a seat? This is a drawing. It looks like it is made by a child and has something written on the back. My name is Hannah, and these are my friends, Elisa and Olivia. The three of us live together at the Whitehaven orphanage. We are very different, but we love being together. Alicia loves animals and wants to be a marine biologist when she grows up. Although I don't know if that exists. My friend Olivia wants to be a musician. She says her parents were musicians too. It makes me very envious when she talks about her parents. I never knew mine. I love to read, and when I grow up, I would like to write stories like the ones we have in the library. That's very nice. It's also quite articulate for quite young children, but I think I'd better trot off before someone turns the gravity back on. And a chair falls on my head. So is there anything else here other than my horrible hiccups and this floating book? Anything else around? Any other notes or keys or items? Nope, just another floating book. And everything seems much the same as before. Okie dokie. I don't remember this being here. Did I just walk past that and not see that? Because that looks like another stairwell. It's extremely dark, but it looks like it might be another stairwell, like to access another part of the second floor. Like another corridor along the second floor. But I won't be able to access it unless I can move those things, which I don't think I have the strength to do. Let me see if I can find anything else. Hang on a minute. How many of these were there that I could change around? Were there 3? Yes, there are. I have a theory, right? Because there's a penguin, there's a xylophone, and there's a book, right? And that note mentions somebody wanting to be a marine biologist, which means they might study penguins. Somebody wanted to be a musician, so they might play a xylophone, and somebody wanting to write stories, write books. So maybe if I use this note and I write down who wanted to do what. So let's see, we've got Hannah, we've got Elisa, and we have Olivia. Now, Elisa wants to be the marine biologist. Olivia wants to be the musician. And Hannah wants to be the writer. Okay, now that's only half the puzzle that I need, because I think I also need the numbers on the lockers in order to know which room belongs to which individual child. So, this is Rachel and Claire. I don't want either of those. This is Alicia and Evie. So Alicia is room, what was that? 202. Right. And then, what else do we have? We've got Emily and Patricia. Hannah and Barbara are 205. This could all come crashing down in a minute, and I hope you're prepared for the devastation of that. And Olivia is in 207. Okay, so my theory is that for this first room with the box in it, it's 202. So Alicia was in this room. So if we change this to a penguin, and the next one was 205, which is Hannah, the writer. If we change that to a book, and then we change this one to a xylophone, right. There's no need to punish me with hitting me over the head with a light bulb. Oh, it's all going to get a little bit spookier. Oh, hello, Mr. Monkey. Oh, little monkey, how adorable. Right. Wow, would you look at that puzzle I worked out all by myself. I didn't even need to look up a guide or nothing. I'm positively proud of myself. Okay, that was a nice little puzzle, because that was subtle, but really nicely thought out. Okay, this wasn't like this before. This isn't how this was set up before. Okay, so this is another part. This is like another corridor. But I wouldn't have imagined these two would be connected. I'd imagine like, because the left-hand side lockers had the girls and the right-hand side had the boys. So maybe like the left-hand side goes up to the girls' rooms and the right-hand side goes up to the boys' rooms, perhaps. But I wouldn't have imagined they'd be connected like this. So we're going to have a PT style system going on here, or is Phil just going to bang the mouse accidentally? Now, which door was that? It wasn't any of these. Ah, this one to 202. That was Alicia's room. Yeah, so I think there's certainly a degree of a PT vibe going on here. We'll see how well they execute it, since it tends to be extremely hit and miss. Not quite sure what's going on with all the Great King. You'd imagine for ghosts and ghouls, you'd imagine they'd be relatively light, what with all of the organs and skin they've usually shed off in their dismembered processings. Hello. Oh dear. Oh goodness. What a moment for my light to break. Okay, I think this is where the demo started, or where like the beginning of the game started, sort of prologue. Now, did somebody grab me from behind with a whip and pull me backwards down the corridor, or did the corridor extend? Did the corridor elongate? I'm not sure either of those are particularly good. Okay, is this going to keep happening? Do I just need to, like, outlast this? Is there a doorway here? Yes, there is, but it's locked. Okay. Okay, so eventually that does stop happening. It's not that I just... Okay. This is a problem. Now we've got an SCP chasing us. Okay. Is this a door? I think it's a door. It's extremely difficult to tell. Okay. What was that? A giant frog. Why was I being chased by a giant frog monster? Did I die or did I escape? I don't know, but I seem to be alive and I'm going to guess that my limbs are intact, so I'm going to call that a success and just move on with my life. Left or right? I don't know. Let's go forward first and foremost. Okay, there's nothing in this dress that I can make use of, and there are more of these bizarre paintings. Let's not discuss those. Okay, that's an open book, that's not a note. Okay, let's have a look at the door on the left first and see what we find. Nothing. That was productive. Right, let's have a look at the door on the right with the nice blood red carpet next to it. Ah yes, a little bit more success in here. This is a nice little reading room. Tragedy in the orphanage. Whitehaven orphanage has been closed due to the disappearance of blank. The little girl disappeared last month. The trace which started an investigation at the orphanage. Blankety blank blank. Police discovered that children were being abused at the place of blankety blank and has been closed, and the staff is in police custody. I see. Well, that certainly backs up what the voice of the character was saying after we discovered those medical records. Interesting. Okay, I was expecting to find that the door behind me had slammed, but no, I was just about to comment on how rude that was, but then you didn't actually do it, which meant I had nothing to say and had to prattle instead. I do find it interesting that this game is taking, although there are certain, like, supernatural, demonic elements to it, at the same time it's keeping things relatively sort of grounded in reality. Because an orphanage and child abuse are perfectly, well, I was going to say perfectly, no, that's not the right word, it's like, not realistic? I don't know, the things that actually happen, rather than, you know, demons and death and stuff, which is interesting, because not a lot of games actually go for that, looking at, like, the horrific realities of real life, rather than just, you know, demons and monsters and zombies and stuff, which is interesting. I think there's some sort of famous quote about, like, the demons in real life are far worse than any of the demons in fiction, something to that degree, and it's very true, and I think it's something that a lot of horror movies and horror games would benefit from remembering and taking advantage of a little bit more often. What's this? Ah, a secret passageway. Goodness, this reminds me of the horror movie The Boy. Very much so, actually. Very similar design in terms of the secret corridors between the walls. So what was this used for? Was this used for spying on people? Or was this used for, like, covert movements around the building? Now, where have we gotten back to? Are we still on the second floor, or have we moved back down? Remember the moon in the centre. Face the moon. Remember. So do we need to stand in the centre of something and look at the moon, perhaps? Look up at the moon? Perhaps stand in, like, a courtyard? Can we see a moon? Nope. Very cloudy. Okay. Just like, no, let's not even go there. Okay, that's a moon. So maybe I should stand in the centre of the room and look at the moon? What does this say? Remember the moon in the centre, face the moon, remember. Okay, so I'm guessing this is locked. No, it's not. Okay, right, so that puzzle isn't here to make that door unlocked, though potentially it is if this is just an infinitely looping corridor. Is it? Yes, okay, so this is an infinitely looping corridor, and I need to use this puzzle to help me solve it, so that when I go through that door it works properly. So, the moon in the centre. So there's two moons, there's not like a third moon, you need to look at the centre moon. Do I need to somehow look at the moon while standing in the centre of the room? Can I shut this door behind me by any chance? Yes, I can. That might help a little bit. I don't know why, but it might. Cross bigger straws here. So I can't directly interact with the pictures of the moon, which would be the easiest way of looking at them. I don't know what these are paintings of, but they're definitely not the moon. So there is just these two. So let's try to stand dead in the centre and look at the moon. It doesn't seem to do anything. There weren't any other paintings of the moon, were there? I don't think there's any paintings in here at all. And there is definitely no moon out there that I could look at. I can't open the window and stick my head out or anything like that. Oh, now there's a moon in the centre. Can I look at this moon now? If I shut this door, stand right in the centre of the room, because this is like a central moon. This is a moon in the centre. It's in the centre of the room. It's not off to the left or off over there. So potentially this is the moon in the centre that I'm supposed to be looking at, supposed to be facing. But I somehow doubt that that has been enough in order to allow us to progress. Yeah, so on this cycle the moons are in the edges of the room, but then the next time round the moon is in the middle. Yes. Interesting. But before it was over there behind the cabinet, and now it's here. Interesting. This all come together. There must be like a specific place that... Never mind. There must be... What is it with these doors shutting? Okay, have I broken the game slightly, because I don't think I was supposed to go this way round. There must be like a specific room with like the right kind of moon. See, this one's only got one moon in it now. So there must be a room which has a moon in the centre, right in the centre, something like this. Which when I face it, I face the correct moon. That will give me the solution to the puzzle. I just need to find the right room. I feel like I'm going the wrong way and I ought to be going the other way around. Right. Okay. A. That took longer than I care to admit. B. I think the developers put up a guide themselves on Steam, which I very much appreciate. C. This locksmith is trying really hard to fix this lock that nobody can get into. No, I don't think I can leave. I think I can only stay here and slowly accept my fate. Right, that was a little bit more complex than I expected. You kind of had to sort of dance between two rooms. Instead of going round in a circle, you kind of went round in a semicircle until eventually you had moons in the middle of both rooms. I don't quite know why that was the solution. I don't quite know how you'd get that out of the information that you were given. But, never mind. We got through it, and that's what matters. This room is going to close in on me, isn't it? I can feel it. I'm not claustrophobic, but I know when a room is going to start closing in on me. He says, immediately being thrust into a much bigger room, thus throwing his theory out the window. Okay, dear. Okay. I know I was a party to horrible abuse, but I really think it might be time for me to leave. Is there something running towards me? It's so difficult to pick out shapes in all the shadows.
The sewer?
I had a feeling that would come back into play. Ah, yes. As you can see, I assume we are going down the ladder and not hammering something. Okay, so we're changing up the environment a little bit. Okay, this reminds me enormously of Concluse. Enormously of Concluse, potentially very similar assets being used. Okay, what have we got in here? I have no idea. It is so very dark I can't see. Ah, there we are. That's much better. Right. Now, what horrible thing in here is going to make me wish that we hadn't turned the lights on in the first place? Nothing, it would seem. Lovely. Okay. So I don't think I can cross to get to any other areas. Can I go across here? No, I can't jump over or jump into the water in order to get onto another of these walkways. And I doubt I'm just meant to go back. So what is my next step? I can't go that way. So there must be something in here I can use, right? Some sort of item. Oh, here we are. Oh, some boards. Yes, I can make a bridge. Okay, so the question is, where do they go? Where do I put these to use? Thinking about it, it's going to be over there, isn't it? Yes. Over the top of these pipes. This would be the logical place to put them. Yes, there we are. Excellent. Okie dokie. So let's keep exploring and sincerely hope that we do not run into a killer croc or a fat berg. Oh, right. This must be important to the story because they're putting invisible power in front of it. This is my handwriting. This is a page from my diary.
My name is Rose Davies, and I work as a teacher at Whitehaven Orphanage. I'm new here. I've only been working at the orphanage for a couple of months. However, it didn't take me long to realize that something was wrong. When I started, I was warned that these children might be troubled or need special treatment because of the things they had experienced. I'd worked with other children of all types before, and knew that the problem these children had was not in their past. My students brought marks and bruises practically every day. They were apathetic and reacted with fear to anything. One day I went to see Dr. Tramis, the doctor in charge of children's health here at Whitehaven. Shortly after speaking with him, my suspicions were confirmed. The children were being abused by the orphanage staff. Dr. Tramis would not name names and said it was best for everyone to keep it all quiet. I couldn't leave things like that. I couldn't. One night, I took the medical files from the infirmary to blow the lid off all this. The watchman must have heard me, and as soon as he saw me with the files, I ran. I left the orphanage and ran. I ran as fast as I could. The watchman was behind me. I couldn't stop to look at him, but I could hear his screams. I ran through the forest to try to lose him, but suddenly, I felt a blow on my head and fell to the ground. My head had never hurt so much. I remember the trees pouring red as the blood poured down my face. The taste of iron being dragged through the forest as the branches of the pine trees dug into my legs. A red moon. A manhole cover. And now I'm here, abandoned. And here I will die. No one will ever read these words or know what happened in the orphanage. Everything is darkening. And the only thing I regret is is that I couldn't save those poor children. It's my fault.
If only we'd invented the text message. I see. That actually ties a lot of things together, which previously didn't make sense to me. Like the scene in the forest when everything was red. I was going to comment how that seemed extremely out of place and didn't make any sense. And the ending of the game just being in the sewer. Why was it there? Why was that added? What did that add to the story? But all of a sudden it does come together to make more sense. It's as if what we were experiencing was her last moments before death. Walking around the orphanage, going to the classroom where she worked, finding the files, and then the experience with the blood in the forest, and then being taken down to the sewer. So what was the connection to the opening scene? Because it seemed as if that was when she was older, and she'd moved on from the tragedy of the orphanage, and was undertaking therapy, but having nightmares. Was that some sort of end-of-life hallucination, perhaps? I don't know. There's a degree of mystery about it. About when she really died. I think the truth of the story and what was going on to the children is quite apparent and executed in an excellent manner. That was genuinely very impressive. I actually really enjoyed that. As I said before, taking all of the supernatural stuff and the demons and just putting that to one side and examining instead the sort of plainer realities of life, while still keeping them nicely horrific, I think was a very, very apt design choice. And that puzzle with the rooms and having to select the right toy to put on top of the box, that was very nice. That was simple, but intuitive, and brought together little pieces of information that you thought were just flavour text and you thought didn't really matter, but really came together in order to actually be a bit more meaningful and help you progress, which is very, very nice. That's the kind of puzzle that I think does have a place in these sorts of games. Because while you could still argue there's the whole pacing problem with any kind of puzzle in a horror game, that was a really nice one because it just made you think and it made you use the information and kind of involve yourself in the environment which you were in, which I think was a really nice touch. That was a lot more impressive than I was expecting it to be. From what I remember of the demo, I would not have expected this out of that. So this was very impressive. Certainly worth the few quid that I charged for it. So I really enjoyed that. You did as well. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen, from Whitehaven. Look after each other and good night.